Hey there, listeners. This is your host, Trenz, signing in, and welcome to another episode of Trenz Podcast. For today's episode, I will be doing a book review of the 11th and 12th book of the James Bond series, or shall I say, our beloved Agent 007, written by author Fleming. The titles of the books are On Her Majesty's Secret Service and You Only Live Twice. Also follow me on my social media accounts such as Instagram at TrenzYBA, Twitter at TrenzIbanez, and on YouTube as Katrina Ibanez. Without further ado, let's begin the book review. Before I begin on my own book review on Her Majesty's Secret Service, the 12th novel in Ian Fleming's James Bond series, let me read you something that can be read at the back of the book or you can find through research. In the aftermath of Operation Thunderball, Ernst Travel Blofeld's trail has gone cold, and so has 007's love for his job. The only thing that can rekindle his passion is Contessa Teresa Tracy di Vicenzo, a troubled young woman who shares his taste for fast cars and danger. She is the daughter of a powerful crime boss, and he thinks Bond's hand in marriage may be the solution to all her problems. Bond's not ready to settle down yet, but if Tracy's father can lead him to Blofeld, he'll consider it. After tracking the Spectre chief to a stronghold in the Swift Alps, Bond uncovers the details of Blofeld's latest plot, a biological warfare scheme more audacious than anything the Fiend has tried before. Now Bond must save the world once again and survive Blofeld's last very personal act of vengeance. And now on to my book review of the first book in this episode, On Her Majesty's Secret Service by author Ian Fleming. Genre, fiction and thriller. Number of pages 326. Started reading this book on December 6, 2021 and finished reading this book on December 23, 2021. And I read it as an ebook format. I would definitely recommend reading this book to those who love spy novels. James Bond is 007 in Her Majesty's Secret Service, one of the highest international spies in Britain. Bond is on the track of the villainous Blofeld, who escaped Bond in the wake of his last adventure, when he falls in love, for the first time, with the troubled daughter of the French Mafia. With the help of this new alliance, Bond catches up to Blofeld and fails a scheme that could fell the British economy. Still, he pays the ultimate price for his victory, and Blofeld escapes him yet again. Who does Bond fall in love with? What scheme does Bond stop? And what is the price that Bond pays for his victory against Blofeld? Read the book to find out, my dear listeners. Read the book to find out. Before I begin my own book review of the second book in today's episode, You Only Live Twice, which is Ian Fleming's 12th book in the James Bond novel, let me read you something that can be found through research. The tragic end to James Bond's last mission, courtesy of Ernst Travel Blofeld, has left 007 a broken man, and of little use to the British Secret Service. At his wits' end, M decides the only way to snap his best agent out of his torpor is to send him on an impossible diplomatic mission to Japan. Bond's contact there is the formidable Japanese spy master, Tiger Tanaka, who agrees to do business with the West if Bond will assassinate one of his enemies, a mysterious Swiss botanist named Dr. Guntram Shatterhand. Shatterhand is not who he seems, however, and his impregnable fortress, known to the locals as Castle of Death, is a gauntlet of traps no Gaijin has ever penetrated. But through rigorous ninja training, and with some help from the beautiful and able Kissy Suzuki, Bond manages to gain access to Shatterhand's lair. Inside lurks a certain doom at the hands of 007's bitterest foe, or a final chance to exact ultimate vengeance. And now on to my book review of the second book in today's episode, You Only Live Twice by author Ian Fleming, genre fiction mystery thriller, number of pages 214. I started reading this book on December 23, 2021, and finished reading this book on December 27, 2021. And I read it as an ebook format. And I would definitely recommend reading this book and the books that came before it. James Bond, Agent 007, is still suffering from the shock of Tracy's death, his wife for less than a day, in the previous book. M, at the end of his patience, sends Bond on a so-called impossible mission in Japan. After being given a big boon by Mr. Tiger Tanaka, Bond has to do something to make this even between Britain and Japan. In a place called the Death Castle, are making a literal death trap enticing people to suicide. Mr. Tanaka wants Bond to assassinate this doctor and his wife. Upon seeing the pictures of these two people, Bond is out for revenge, because this doctor is actually Blofeld and the wife is Irma Bunt, the very people who killed his wife. With the help of the Ama people of Kuro Island, especially Kissy Suzuki, Bond gets his revenge, only to lose his memory. What happens next? And if you want to experience how the whole story unfolds for yourself, read the book, my dear listeners. Read the book to find out. Hey there, listeners. That's all for today's episode of Trenz Podcast. You can find Trenz Podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Don't forget to follow or subscribe and leave a comment. If you want to hear more book reviews and other topics, stay tuned for another episode of Trenz Podcast and keep on listening.